The latest NBS figures also indicate that the price of cooking gas rose by over 100% year-on-year. On a month-on-month basis, the report shows the average retail price for refilling a 5-kilogram cylinder of cooking gas increased by 7.57%. Well, Arise business correspondent reports that in reality, while the month-on-month increase is minimal, businesses are yet to recover from the sudden spike recorded at the start of the year.
When it comes to determining the actual price of cooking gas in Nigeria in 2022, you are greeted with varying prices from as low as 744 naira per kilogram to as high as 1,000 naira per kilogram in August 2022. It all depends on the depot supplying the product.
As at February, we're selling at 800 naira per kg, but that is 12.5 will be 10,000 naira. But right now we're selling at 780 per kg, which is 9,500 for 12.5.
But Oladimeji has just bought 3 kilograms of cooking gas for 2,300 naira from this depot. 2 months ago, he bought it for 1,500 naira.
I buy 12.5, but right now, because of the increase in the price, I have to come back to 3 kg at least for it to survive now.
In the first quarter of 2022, cooking gas sold for as low as 9 million naira for 20,000 kilograms in gas depots to as high as 11.5 million naira. In the second quarter, it sold for as low as 10.7 million naira to 12.6 million naira for 20,000 kilograms. In the third quarter, it sold for as low as 11.4 million naira and currently sells for 12.4 million naira per 20,000 kilograms. A byproduct of crude oil, its price is determined by global oil prices, and with low refining capacity, 50% of Nigeria's domestic market supply was sourced locally from the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas in Bonny River State and BRT LNG, while the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Authority reports that 49.9% of cooking gas was imported between October 2021 to March 2022. Statistics aside, this is what the numbers translate to.
Before I used to buy 12.5 kg, 4,500, but now it's 9,600. And 25 kg. Now I used to buy 25 kg, 16,760. So because of the cost price, I know they use the 50 kg again. So I now go back to charcoal. So even the price of charcoal, before charcoal is 1,500, but now charcoal is 4,000 naira.
Yusuf Abdullahi runs a roadside diner. He uses 2 sources of cooking energy to run his business: liquefied petroleum gas and good old firewood.
Before now 1.5, next time na 4.5 refilling gas.
So I see say you dey use firewood to boil water. Why you no buy 2 gas to take boil water? It too cost.
It costs money.
But even the alternative, though easy to come by, isn't as cheap as it used to be, along with everything else, as Nigeria's inflation in the month of July surpassed 19%. This code that you are using, is it more affordable, or have they also increased it?
It's what I can afford as for now. Because gas is very, very expensive. I can't afford it. I abandoned it. Even the code itself is very, very expensive. The quarter of it is 1,000 naira. Bag of it is 4,405.
How much was it before?
1,500, 1,200, 1,300. But now it's 4,500 naira, 4,000 naira.
Yes, now don't come for firewood. Now one line now 40,000 done by. That before now 15.
One line of what?
For bench, for line, for your wood. That 17, 18. Yes, 40,000 done by.
According to the World Bank, 89% of Nigerians lack access to clean cooking fuel. The smoke associated with cooking from open fire is dangerous. It's reported that 4 million people die every year from illnesses associated with smoke from cooking. While people make adjustments to survive Nigeria's harsh economic realities, the failure to address fundamental challenges responsible for Nigeria's energy crisis paints a stark reality of difficulties ahead. Oni Sunday, Arise News.
Sounds very much like bumpy road ahead. Well, to discuss the rising cost of cooking gas and its implications, former president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Association of Nigeria, Peter Esele, joins us remotely. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Let's start with that basic question. Why is LPG cost rising in Nigeria in spite of the fact that Nigeria does have a comparative advantage when it comes to gas? According to the figures that I saw, 803, let me get it right, $1 trillion worth of gas reserve. That's what we have in Nigeria. What exactly is going on?
Thank you for having me. First is that you have to look at it that gas is a derivative also from crude oil. So you have an international bench price for gas. LNG, which of course is our major producer in Nigeria, sells in dollars. So what you have is that when you sell in dollars and you buy, let me just say you buy gas in naira, for example, he's sold to you in dollars and you have to sell in naira locally. So once you have a depreciation in your currency, then that is why you are going to continually have increase in our prices. Even if you have international price going down, what you are going to have is once our currency keep depreciating, we aren't going to enjoy the fact that the prices will continue to go down. So the major problem we have is that we buy gas in dollars and we have to sell in naira. So once you have that, so you're not going to have you're going to have these discrepancies, and then you continually have prices going so high.
But I mean, Mr. Esele, why are we buying gas? I think that's the question. Nigeria is said to be, it depends on the statistics you're looking at, the sixth or the seventh largest producing nation. So why are we still buying gas?
In terms of proven reserve, we are even among the top 10. Nigeria currently has about 206 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve. So first, if you're asking me this question, it's also the same thing I will say. Why are we importing petrol when we also have it here? So first thing is lack of planning. You know, from what is our long-term goal? What do we plan? In the last administration, they talked about gas master plan. And when you talk about gas master plan, what was the plan for the gas? As long as we don't have plan for the oil and gas industry, whereby when I use the word plan, holistic plan, I'm talking about documentation. In terms of documentation, Nigeria is first world country. But in terms of the discipline and to follow through, that is where we are lacking. So first, we don't even have the necessary facility to ensure the infrastructure that you need for all of this. So we lack infrastructure, that is one. Two, we don't even have a plan for that industry. CBN sometime last year talked about 250 billion naira to support that sector, which of course for manufacturers, processors, aggregators. Now, if you have all of that, how do you create an enabling environment for people to invest? CNG, for example, is maintained. LPG is butane and propane. So now you need to even process the natural gas to get these two byproducts. But do you have the infrastructure to do that? Do you have the enabling environment for businessmen to invest in all of that? So first is government policy has been weak, not just in this administration, it has been on. Let me take it from the civilian administration, for example. From 1999 to date, we had talk about gas master plan. From Obasanjo, we had it in Yaradua, we had it in Jonathan's time. I remember so much fanfare by Desiani, and nothing came out of it. The last couple of weeks, we've also heard the current GMD of an NPC also going back to the gas master plan. It is when we have the discipline to follow through on the various processes for growth. Government is not ad hoc. It is planning. It is something that you have to work on. It requires critical thinking if you want to develop any sector of your economy. And gas is key. We can say whatever we want to say right now. You need gas for power. I heard your earlier report about cost of foodstuff. You need gas for power. You even need gas for cars. You need gas again for clean energy to help you protect your environment. So we need to have a holistic plan for the country and for the sector.
Right. So what are the implications of not halting the rising cost of liquefied petroleum gas in Nigeria? And you heard from that report also where people are dumping gas and going back to the wild to pick firewood, and even charcoal is expensive. What are the wider implications of this, especially for Nigeria's gas expansion program?
Yes, the wider implication for this is that our environment that we're always talking about, we are going to have, we'll start having dirty energy. When I use the word dirty energy, that means going back to firewood, going back to coal, which is also not very good for the environment. That's one. Number two, you're also going to have a lot of health challenges, people dying from exposure to fumes coming out from the smoke. And then number three, you are going to have desertification, which means people go out there to cut down trees because that is now their source of energy to make food. So, and then the other aspect of what is also going to play out is that we are busy creating jobs in America, in Europe, and in Brazil, because majorly that's where we are importing from, and even from Nigeria. And then we are creating jobs for those people out there, and then we are also creating poverty here. Even if we say gas is going to be expensive, yes, but first of all, let's have what I call, let's be self-sufficient. And then when we are self-sufficient locally, then we can now import. America does that. When America has self-sufficiency, they won't export, but sometimes they also need to import. So if our economy is up to that state whereby businesses can thrive, a lot of these businesses that we're talking about now that are shutting down, if you don't have power, even the power we're talking about, you don't have power, you can use gas to power your plant. So a lot of challenges are there, but all we need to do is for government to come out with a policy and work on that policy step by step, year in, year out. It has to be continuous.
And I know
policy, I'd like to, just throw this in. Peter Esele, what should that policy really look like? If you had the opportunity to help, draft or design this gas policy, give us an idea of what it should look like. What should be in it?
The first thing is you have to get the private sector involved. Government don't even have all the money to do all of this. Government need to get the private sector involved. Currently, there's a gas master plan in NNPC. There's a gas master plan well designed in NNPC. All the government needs pick it up, get the private sector involved, encourage NLNG. NLNG has a huge contract of supplies across the world. So encourage NLNG to also have local production. They have to try and meet our local demands. But for NLNG to do that, you also need to have the infrastructure. So I'll give a tax holiday. If you are going to invest X amount of money in ensuring that liquefied gas is all across, we have to enjoy we'll be self-sufficient, I'll give a tax holiday. No businessman wants to put any money where it will not make profit. You create an enabling environment for them to know that they can invest their money and also recoup their profit. Example of what is happening in aviation industry right now. Airlines can't repatriate their funds. So if you have something like that, nobody is going to come here and invest money. You must create that environment to make people know that you can put in money and you can also take out your profit. So once you are able to do that, tax holiday, CBN just approved 250 billion naira last year for investment in infrastructure to support businesses. And what are the challenges these businessmen are facing? Commercial banks are treating those 250 billion as if it's a commercial loan. What I would do, single-digit loan. If you are taking that money, you want to invest in gas, make sure no more than 5%.
So very quickly, you talk about these solutions, and some will say they don't sound new. You talk about policy and infrastructure. What is the time frame? How quickly can we get this resolved? Are they low-hanging fruits? Can we get them done quickly?
No, we can't get it done quickly because there are too many gaps right now. But we still have businesses people who have set up already, who are doing what they're doing. If we are looking for quick fix, that's why we are in this mess. Every time we are going for quick fix. No, we don't need quick fix. We just need critical thinking to provide solution to the problem.
Great. Peter Esele is the former president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming on the news tonight.